Hello, welcome back to LIVENODING. In this episode, we're gonna play around with one of nodes in Sverchok. It's actually related to sculpting. Um, it was actually quite new node, so it's feel free to give it a try. It's called Vertex Sculpt Masking, and as it is, this node looks pretty peculiar, and you probably don't know what this thing does until you give it a try. I'm gonna save this and save it as Sculpt Mask. So if we can guess from the name, this thing actually does sculpt masking. So for example, if we have, let's try with a torus. And for example, if you go to the sculpt mode and you're doing a bit of sculpting, by default this thing has a X mirroring on. We can leave it like that, or maybe turn it off. Okay, turn it off. So we have the ability to sculpt, but there is also like a mask somewhere here. We can draw a mask. And back to the sculpting. I haven't used sculpting for a while, but we can kind of guess what it is. I think control actually, one of these functions actually draw the mask. I can't remember what it is, but what this node does is actually generating sculpt mask for an object in real time, and it's all procedural. So if I just use the torus, for example, and let's try using something like vector turbulence. But of course, for this guy, we also need some kind of value. We can give it a random value, but it's not gonna be nice. We probably want to load the torus. So objects, let's use object out mk2 and get our torus objects and plug in the vertices into this guy. And with this value as a scalar, we can use it as a mask. So you can see it right away. It's sort of giving us masking, even though it's not too obvious at the moment. Perhaps I need to increase the subdivisions. I'll do that. Subdivide and go back to this guy and reload. Maybe I need to use a vector math and multiply scalar. Actually, is this guy working? Oh, I need to switch to sculpt mode. So now I can see the mask. So if I'm doing a little bit of sculpting, you see the mask is kind of doing something. So whatever is black, it won't be pushed. Perhaps I'll make slight changes here. Hard or increase the amplitude. Okay, that's better. So you can see what's going on. We can randomize the seed and get a different result. And we can continue doing this. Maybe I even add more subdivision. Oh, actually that's too hard, too high res. Go back to Sculpt. I haven't used this. I think we can use multi-resolution and really subdivide it really hard. One more time. And that's actually very, very hard. Now if we go to sculpt mode, now that's actually kind of interesting. We're getting some kind of pixelation. Maybe it doesn't work with the, okay, I need to use post modifier, and now this really gonna calculate and then it crashes. So maybe that was too high for Sverchok to handle. Maybe it's my computer, but I'll try again. I'll set up something that's more procedural, and we're gonna use that Sculpt masking thing. Okay, file, save as, Sverchok Sculpt mask, compositing, Sverchok new, create a plane MK2. Let's output a B-mesh so we get a real objects in the scene. Let's have it 40 by 40. It's quite high res. Reduce the step and center it. So we have this guy, and this guy is being generated on the fly. So be careful. It might update your mesh. Now we want to perhaps use the object ID out MK2. Plug into this guy, and let's use the Sculpt. Vertex Sculpt masking. We want to get this object, and the Sculpt mask, we want to use the turbulence. Plug the vertices in there, and the result we want it to be scalar, and then plug in there. And let's go to Sculpt mode and start sculpting. So this is not very high res. Maybe we want to smooth this. You can see that it's kind of updating, and whenever I update, this thing goes back to normal. Like it's reset itself. So that's because of this plane kind of plug into this guy. We should actually turn off updating. I'll increase the resolutions maybe 60 by 60, so we have 3600 points, and now it's even more high res, so you can see the turbulence kind of showing up. We can increase the amplitude so it's a bit darker. So now I can do a little bit sculpting. So yeah, if we don't want it to reset itself, turn off this update. Now it should maintain the result. If we change the frame number, it's gonna update the turbulent noise based on the latest surface. So this is kind of very interesting because the noise and the turbulence masking is keep changing as you sculpt. So that can be very interesting. And like as we did before, we can use vector math and use multiply by scalar, maybe point. Oh, actually, this guy is expecting this to update. Maybe I did it wrong. I should have used, instead of this guy, we should just source the result. Unplug. Yeah, that's better. So the creations, we should kind of bake this guy first and then start to do the masking from here. Otherwise, if we have this, it's gonna reset itself once again. So turn it off and back to this guy. It's trying to do sculpting. There we go. We can even go higher, but this should be enough. Maybe use matcap and it's like a ZBrush kind of look. I think that's pretty cool. Change the resolution, maybe less. Increase the resolution, change the turbulence, randomize the seed, like that, increase the frequency. I have not explored so much on this, but feel free to give it a try with vector noise as well, or other methods to generate like a noise, cell noise. Cell noise give you this kind of broken look, very hard edge. I like Voronoi. Voronoi and very small value sometimes, but vector noise tend to be very small in value. So sometimes you want to multiply it perhaps, or remap the value. So I'll multiply the value, so now it's very high contrast. Okay, that's looking better. You know, with this guy, maybe I want to use subdivisions, and in this case we want to use post modifier. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Back to sculpt mode, update it. Cannot see anything. Hide mask and optimize display disabled. Oh yeah, doesn't really like it. There must be another way to kind of use the subdivide, but for now I'll increase the resolutions once again and reload and use the sculpt mask. See if the multiplier doesn't work, maybe we can use map range and the noise value can go there. Now we can really increase the contrast. Something like that. Now we can sculpt. It's kind of fun to do this like randomly. It's kind of like generating terrain or something. Maybe you can go like super hard and then generate the terrain and use it as a displacement texture. I'm not like a sculptor, but this is pretty fun. Voronoi, noise, cell noise, standard Berlin. See, as you are sculpting, if you update the frame range, the noise itself will change again. Yeah, I guess that's pretty good. I guess we can leave it over there. So yeah, this guy needs some kind of experimentations, but give this a try. This is a very simple node to use. You basically needs to use nodes that's kind of outputting value, like a scalar value for the sculpt mask. This is actually per vertex kind of weighting, and you can generate your own like a noise that's not provided, even not provided by Sverchok. If you use the scripted node, you might be able to use your own algorithm for this. But yeah, it's give it a try and see what you can come out with. So this is the basic setup you can use. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this live noding. Any question, feedback, just let me know on the comments below. And thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.